Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Analyzing Chazal. This week we'll be analyzing a Rashi in Parshas Hazinu. The pasuk in Perek Lamed Beis, pasuk Zayin says, "Zechar Yemos Olam Binu Shinostar Vadar." Remember the days of the world. Look closely at the years of the generation. The explanation of the pasuk. There are different interpretations of this pasuk. But all the commentaries agree that the Torah is trying to inspire Bnei Israel to keep the Torah, either by reminding them of the punishment prior generations received for their sins, or telling them about the future good a person will receive for keeping the Torah. Rashi says, Dor enosh shehitzif aleya me uchyainis, v'dor hamabel sheshatfam. The generation of Enosh, that the ocean flooded a third of the world, and the generation of the flood, where God destroyed the entire world. The explanation of Rashi. Rashi explains that what Moshe was telling Bnei Israel was to remember the generations of Noach and Enosh who sinned to God and they were punished. What Rashi did not mention was what happened to Egypt and how they tortured Bnei Israel and were hit with the 10 plagues and being drowned in the Yam Suf. It would seem from this omission that Bnei Israel, even though the occurrences that happened in Egypt were much more recent than those of the generation of Enosh and Noach, they could not learn the lesson from them. It would seem to be that since the evil of the Egyptians that they enslaved an entire nation was different than the sins that Bnei Israel might do in the future, Bnei Israel could not learn the lesson that God punishes people for their evil actions. Question: if the lesson that Bnei Israel needed to learn was just that when a person sins, God will punish them, what difference would it make what the sin the person did was? As long as he received a punishment, the lesson should be learned. The answer, as we said earlier, the answer comes directly from the question. The question was, is it really true that Bnei Israel could not learn the lesson from Egypt that God punishes evil actions just because the evil actions of the Egyptians were different than the sins that Bnei Israel would do in the future? The answer, of course, is yes. That is the power of the Yetzer Hara, get us to rationalize away lessons from what we see by convincing us that the other situation is different and does not apply to us. Practical application. We are now standing right after Yom Kippur. Over the past year, Bnei Israel went through difficult times, and as we know, when bad things happen, we are meant to learn from them. However, for many of us, we did not personally know someone who was impacted by these awful events, and our Yetzer Hara could easily convince us that it was the other guy this happened to, but that has nothing to do with me. We need to realize that even when things happen to other people, the lesson is for us as well, and we also need to check our actions and repent. See you next time for Parshas Bezos HaBracha.